Morning, Steve. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm great. Thank you for sharing your cars with us this morning and the time on a bright and early cold Sunday morning. Today we're going to talk about your C2, which is right behind us here. Give us the lowdown on this C2.
It's a 1964.
Okay.
It's all original carpet, original seats, numbers matching. It's a 365 horsepower, small block. It's a great car.
How long have you had it?
About 3 years now.
Nice. Okay. Is it your first C2?
It's my one and only C2 I've ever had.
And it's a really nice car. I mean, it's in beautiful condition, the carpet and stuff, being original, that's pretty amazing. So what is it about this car that you like the most? What is it that drew you to this car when you first purchased it?
Just the condition.
Okay.
You know, I didn't really care color. I just wanted something that was original and nice and fit the bill.
When it came to the C2, were you looking about whether it was a split window or just the regular windows, or?
At the time, the split window was out of my price range, so this is a third of what those go for.
From what I understand, they are pretty pricey.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So tell me about the particulars of this car. Like the tires that came on it originally, what were they?
I think they were Uniroyal. I have to go look. I've got some for judging purposes in the other garage, and it didn't come with the knockoff hubs. And I've got the original, pound-on hubcaps in a box. I don't think they've even been on the car. They look brand new. And the original rear end was very low geared, and so that's been replaced with a little higher one. You can drive it on the freeway, and that's also in the other garage. So all the original parts are still there. I can put them back on anytime.
And everything is numbers matching about the vehicle as well too? That's
the
awesome.
engine's never been on the car. Transmission, all the way it was in the factory.
That's awesome. That's pretty nice. So you say that these aren't the knockoff wheels. Are these just a faux knockoff?
Yeah, but they're period correct.
Okay.
They're from the 60s. You could order the Kelsey Hayes ones, and if you're trying to buy those now, they are expensive. I've seen a set of 4 for $12,000.
Wow.
So that was an option you could get, was the Kelsey Hayes knockoffs.
Okay, so educate me just a little bit. Are the wheels on it completely knockoff, and you can't put a 5-star pattern on these?
You can put a 5-star pattern on.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Okay, so I was unaware of that.
I can just take those off and put the other ones right on and on it.
Oh, nice. I was unaware that was a possibility. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And so, do you know what number this was built in 1964?
Oh, we can tell by looking at the VIN, but
okay, we'll have to take we'll have to take a look at that and research that and see what numbers. Our viewers are definitely going to be interested in that, especially with these older Corvettes. They really like the ideas of when they were built. And I see you have an NCRS sticker in the window. So you've had this judged a number of times, yes?
I haven't had this one judged. The guy that I bought it from, a guy who bought it from a guy who was an NCRS national judge. And this was the car he was going to have judged, and he died before he finished the project.
Oh, that's too bad.
And then the other guy that I bought it from got it, and then now I have it.
Cool, and you say you've owned it for 3 years, right? Cool, that's very awesome. Anything in particular about the car that you want to point out to it that is your favorite about it compared to maybe the other cars, or?
They're all different, and it's hard to compare them because each has its own personality, and the technology is I mean, it's way ahead of the C1 that I have. So I mean, it's like driving a whole new car for that. When I got it though, I did have a problem with it. It was overheating, and I spent a long time figuring that out. And I finally figured out what the problem was, got that fixed, and now it runs. I drive it on the freeway. I drove it all the way down to Nephi and back and stuff.
Nice.
It runs really good. But it's just the nostalgic of it, the radio, turn it on, one speaker. I mean, it's just fun.
When it came to buying this car in the lineup of your purchasing of these 8 cars, where was this? Was this like the second car, the third car?
Number 7.
Number 7, okay. That's a story that I want to hear about. Why did it come when it did?
Before I got into the NCRS club, right? I mean, I started with the C6-06, and so that's what I knew. I knew the newer cars. So I really wasn't looking for an old car because I was into more speed and I wanted to track the cars and do the autocross and that kind of stuff. So the older cars came later. So I got a C6 first, then I got a C3, and then I got another C3, and then I got the C4. And, it's all history from there.
Where did your obsession with Corvettes begin?
With my dad. My dad always wanted one but never got one.
That seems to be a familiar theme.
Yeah.
We have a lot of interviews that we have that the father was definitely the influence. So tell me about that. What was it about your dad? What did your dad do? Did he show you cars when you were younger so you could recognize what a Corvette was, or how did that story take place?
The story is, and I actually have the model downstairs in my office, on my dad's shelf in his closet. And I must have been, this big, because it was way up there from my memory. But it was up there, and it's a C2, and it's a slot car model. And I would point at it and ask to see it, and he would reach up and get it and open it up, and it's all still sealed up. And one day we're going to build this car. We're going to take it up to the Cottonwood Mall, and we're going to race it, because they have a big racetrack up there.
So a slot car,
Yeah.
Is that, how big are they?
It's about that big.
Okay, and they have a racetrack that they put them on?
They did. They had a hobby store in the basement, in the lower level of the Cottonwood Mall, and it had a big slot car track, and you could go up there and race.
Nice.
But we never did. We never built the car. It's still sealed in the box. It still sits on my shelf now. So, yeah, but that's what started it. It was this car. It's the C2.
So anything else you want to tell me about the car that stands out over the years?
There's nothing like manual brakes, manual steering, to really experience what the car was like back in the 60s.
What options does this car have on it, if any?
Just the radio.
Just the radio.
It's AM, FM radio, and that's pretty much it,
And that was a big deal back then.
It was.
That was a big deal. So when it came to the C2 Corvette, obviously it was a dramatic change from the C1. Can you elaborate a little bit on what those changes were and why they stand out to so many people?
Yeah, the C2 body style is probably the most iconic Corvette there is. The lines on this car, it's modeled after the stingray, the fish, right? And the lines, when you look at it from the back, when you look at it over the hood, when you're driving it, it all resembles, the back of the stingray.
And what were the years for the C2?
63 to 67.
And what were the differences between those years that stand out?
The big block motor, right? They made that available. They did side pipes later on. They changed the dash a little bit, but they're pretty much the same. They don't generally change a lot of suspension stuff unless something's really broken. So the suspension's pretty much the same. The tires were probably a little better, right? Because they got better with the tires as it went on. But if you put a 67 next to this one, they look pretty much the same.
What was the original C3 1963? What was the difference?
Well, that's the split window. That's the famous one that everybody wants. When I have this at car shows, people will walk up to it and they'll look around the back and they go, "It's not a split," and they'll walk away.
Right.
Because they really like that style. But remember back in '64 when this came out, there's people that own the 63s cut that out and put this glass in so they could see out the back of the car. So, times change, but that's kind of the way it was back then.
I understand that it was just a styling thing that one of the engineers wanted, and Zora said, "Okay, you can have it for 1 year, and after that, we're taking it out." That's the story that I've heard. I don't know how true that is.
I haven't heard that story.
And also, from what I understand, the 1963 is one of the most collected Corvettes out there because of that split rear
It is
window.
because they didn't make that many of them, and a lot of them didn't survive. And it's anytime you have a one-off model year, even like the 2019 ZR1. It skyrocketed, right? Because they only made it 1 year. So
Correct.
anything that's a 1 year deal is very popular. So.
But you're absolutely right. No matter which year it was from this generation, they're just
They're pretty
beautiful
much the
cars.
same. Yeah,
Just
just
beautiful
the
cars.
lines of styling. There's not a bad picture on this car.
Well, and the amazing thing about the engineering is they kept this frame and suspension all the way through to the end of the C3.
Yeah.
So that's
Basically the same, 1, 2, and 3, right?
a testament of the engineering that went involved, that went into all of that.
They got better components for that, right? And they got a little better, and the bushings got better, and all that stuff.
Was the 64, did they have disc brakes or drum brakes?
This has drums.
They have drum brakes. Okay, so 65, they went straight from all drums to all disc brakes, right? Okay. Did your dad get the opportunity to see you begin your collection of Corvettes, or understand that your obsession and love for Corvettes was a thing?
No, he did not. My mom got to.
That's awesome.
I've got pictures of her riding in them, and I'd take her to her meetings with her old friends, and they would just giggle and laugh as she's crawling out of a Corvette. But my dad wasn't there for that.
That's too bad. I'm sure he's looking up on you now.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
He would love it.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't? That's pretty awesome.